Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Unquestionably Raw NBA podcast. Once again, we are live. We're going to talk All-Star Weekend. We're going to give our NBA awards, all the different ones through the first half of the season. Yes, I know they played more than 41 games, but it was the All-Star break, so it is what it is. And we're going to talk a little Trae Young. But let me introduce my guests first. Actually, I think it's his second time he's been on with us. I can't remember the first time, but he has been on once before when Pete was here, and Pete may jump in later. We got John Marcus with us today. John, how are you this evening?
This is my first time on the show.
I thought it was the second. Maybe I could be wrong there.
I don't know who you associate with that tries to impersonate you. This rendition of John Marcus is brought to you by 7-Eleven. As it's the only place in my neighborhood that sells a coffee past 9 p.m.
Nice.
Figure.
Hey, I'm with you though. I have Aquafina tonight, so
yep. I'm glad to be here. Let's talk basketball.
Hey, let's just hope 7-Eleven sees this so they can sponsor us. Also, once again, he was with us the last time. He's been with us a few other times too. I got James Holes. How are you doing tonight, James?
Hey, yo, what up, fellas?
Oh, wow, we're all doing great. And then obviously, one of my co-hosts, DJ Gonzo Star. Gonzo, how are you this evening?
Doing all right. How's everybody on the panel doing?
Oh, man, we're good. We're all good. We're just going to jump right into it with the All-Star Weekend. Obviously, I'm not going to talk much Rising Stars. That is what it is. It's usually a fun game, but it's the young guys. Not everybody watches it, but All-Star Saturday night. We had the skills challenge. We had the three-point shootout and the dunk contest. Gonzo, what were your overall impressions this weekend on Saturday night with all the skills contests?
All-Star Weekend is becoming more and more irrelevant each year. A complete waste of my time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the All-Star game was actually good the last quarter to me, in my opinion. But overall, the All-Star Weekend was terrible.
Hey, hold up, Gonzo. Go ahead. We can talk All-Star game. We'll just say the whole thing. What were your thoughts on the whole weekend? Because I want to keep this little segment short.
Yeah, it was complete waste of time.
Hey, he kept it short and simple. I got to go to your games because I know you saw some of it. What were your thoughts on the weekend?
I mean, it's always dude. It's a break for the players. They need this is it's a nice downtime for 98% of the players. It's a lot of fun for the fans. We get to see the players kind of relax and have fun. I thought it was pretty stupid how everybody made a big deal about them playing defense. I want somebody to find me a clip of Chris Webber playing defense in one of his All-Star appearances. Find me one, and I will PayPal you like 4,000 pennies because I don't know. Somebody might actually find one, but it's just hilarious to hear the players now whining about no defense. It's an exhibition game, man. I just want to see dunks and 3-pointers. I don't care about defense. I love my boy Donovan Mitchell, so it was awesome to see him show out and get his get some accolades. It was awesome to see all my other young boys from Boston in the Rising Stars game. So it is what it is. To me, it's just a spectacle. It's something to do, and it's a nice little break in the season. So I'm always all for it.
Okay, I like it. I thought the weekend was okay. Saturday night was it was okay to me. The skills challenge I thought was entertaining. It was cool to see Spencer Dinwiddie win, even though I did pick Lauri Markkanen to win that contest. The 3-point shootout I have to get to, and I actually have a special guest coming on to talk dunk contest in just a second. I just sent him the link because he's going to have all of us in tears. Gonzo, you will know who he is when he pops on. But the 3-point contest really bothered me. It's actually kind of bothered me for this main. Why do we keep bringing Kyle Lowry back in every single year? The dude is trash in this contest. He does not shoot off the rack good at all, which is proven time and time again, yet he continues to get invited. And overall the first round was garbage. I mean, Tobias Harris was the first to go, and I think he got 18 points in the first round, and I was like, yeah, he's done. This dude made it to the final round. Then Devin Booker barely gets. I think Devin Booker had the highest score in the first round, 19. I was like, whoa, come on. And this is with a complete rack of money balls. So, and the finals were fantastic of the 3-point shootout. You had Devin Booker get to 28. Klay Thompson, I believe, got 25. Was it 25 or 26 he got? Gonzo? I know Booker got 28, James. What did Klay Thompson get?
Oh yeah, he's right on his heels, like 20, maybe 26 or 27.
25,
Right
20, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was good. Tobias Harris was a little point on it, but nobody thought Tobias Harris was going to win. I mean, he was shooting a regular jump shot. So there's that. And then the dunk contest. Oh, it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as last year when you had Little Big Dog win it. But I thought you had guys, I mean, and God bless their soul, they were doing a lot of recreations of dunks other guys were doing. And Donovan Mitchell, I love the showmanship. Did he do anything super creative? No, that we haven't seen. No, but the showmanship was there, and I appreciate that. I liked what Larry Nance did. I mean, Dennis Smith Jr., I think, did the toughest dunk of the night. He just didn't convert it, I think, right away. Oladipo, I don't know why he didn't bring like the 1,000-degree dunk that he does out that we've seen on the footage. I don't know why he didn't do it. It is what it is. I got to go to you, John. I know you probably didn't watch much of it, if any at all. But what are your thoughts on All-Star Weekend?
I thought the Sunday All-Star game was pretty good. It was a close game throughout. You know, there was a little bit of defense played. You know, probably more than past years I've seen, and I think there was just like not so much like the defensive intensity isn't there, but at least the guys were like going at each other, like trying to run like some actual basketball, I would say, compared to like past years where like they were just like running up the score. There was no pride involved in the game. You could tell the players cared just a little bit more.
What did you think of LeBron James celebrating like he won the NBA championship?
You know, these moments don't come for LeBron very often. They don't, you know, usually it's the other way around, right?
Wow.
I think the fact that it was the first, you know, it was Team LeBron, right? His name was plastered on it. So he had to be pretty happy then that his team got the victory.
I think some of that, a little bit of it was show, right?
Yeah, of course. You know, they got to drive the ratings for these things. You know, so somebody's got to watch next year, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to go back to you, James. Did you like this new format? I mean, did you see a little bit more competitiveness? I mean, I wouldn't say the defense was better, but they did contest shots better.
My man, I can't care about defense in an All-Star game.
No,
like,
absolutely. That's
no,
why
I'm not saying this at you. I'm just saying, like, to me, I did notice it. And it was annoying because that's all they would talk about. Reggie Miller and Chris Paul were talking about, and it was annoying. It dominated the airwaves. How much? Oh, they're trying now. I don't care about that. I just want to see these guys dunk. I liked it last year when all they did was basically have dunk offs and throw alley oops. Like, that's all I care about. I want to make sure. I want to see dunks, threes, guys not get hurt, and guys just I don't care if they're just chilling because it's all it is. It's an All-Star game. So when people complain about that kind of stuff, it's really weird to me. Nice. Hey, I don't know if you guys caught Victor Oladipo. He showed a dunk that he was practicing.
That's the one I was
where
talking
he did a
about.
360. Tapped it off the glass and switched hands and dunked. And I'm thinking to myself, why did you not do that in the contest?
This is a perfect segue because we have our special guest, Gonzo. You know him. I think we have my guy. We have Byron, Rad Rim. Byron, welcome. Thank you for joining us again.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I got to get you this. I'm not going to talk three-point shootout or any of that. We'll get to the All-Star game. Byron, please let the people know your thoughts on this year's dunk contest. Please, and don't hold back.
I mean, like, they were doing dunks that, like, you've seen me and some of our friends do in our early 20s at, like, 6'1", 6'2", 6 foot flat. We could do all of those things. That these guys, these NBA players are
Byron,
doing.
I have to interject here. Tell them what your tweet was. You're done with this what?
Foolishness. It was just like, really? You have to have Kevin Hart crouch to jump over him? I'm in my 30s. I'll leapfrog Kevin Hart right now and dunk a basketball. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Why does he have to bend down for you to jump over him? Why? You might as well got some kindergartners out there and just jumped over. Like, I'm not impressed.
And this, everybody, is why I had to bring him on.
It doesn't impress me. And then the best dunker didn't even make it to the final round.
Tell everybody what the best dunk of the night was.
That 360 switch hands. Oh my God, that's so.
Who did it though?
Dennis Smith Jr.
There you go.
But because he didn't execute it the first time, I think that's why he didn't make it to the final round. And then furthermore, why do you have Chris Rock and Mark Wahlberg judging the dunk contest? What have they dunked besides donuts in their lifetime?
Hey, not only that, why was DJ Khaled judging the contest?
Exactly. What does he know? The only legitimate judge was Dr. J. That was it.
Hey, I mean, like, he needs to take those major keys and go drive a Benz or something.
Exactly. And Dominique Wilkins was at All-Star Weekend. There was a lot of dunkers who were there, like from the past, that should have judged that thing.
What about Lisa Leslie? Were you cool with that? I thought it was dope.
I'm whatever. I'm not. Still, I mean,
she can dunk.
It brought variety because she's a woman, and I mean, I don't think that that disqualifies or anything like that. I mean, it's just like whatever,
I mean, but here's the thing: it was L.A., so they were going to go Hollywood with it. So I get that. Now I got to ask you this, Byron. You being the music guy and all, and I'm going to go to James and Gonzo and John, and you probably noticed it too. Me and you might not be able to speak on it as well as them. Let's talk about Fergie, Byron. Explain. Please talk about it, Byron. I want your opinion. Let the people know what you think. Be honest. Don't hold back.
I think her and Carl Lewis should do a duet of the national anthem.
That's all you have to say about that.
But when they announced Fergie, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. I get it. She's an LA native, but I mean, it's Fergie. It wasn't like it was Christina Aguilera or Adele or, I mean, I wasn't expecting much when they said Fergie. I really wasn't. And then she proved me right. I shouldn't have been expecting much. Horrible,
hey, Byron, what did you think of all the facial reaction of the players, especially Draymond Green?
I mean, I said, oh, he childish. They shouldn't even pan that camera across the face of those players. Once she got halfway through, they shouldn't even done it. They should just kept the camera on her.
I'm going to you, James. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, he nailed it with the Carl Lewis reference because that's the only one I ever heard worse. It sounded like she was doing an impression of Marilyn Monroe, doing an impression of Aretha Franklin. She had her foot stuck in a bear trap. You know what I'm saying? It was
wow.
Yeah, it was. I don't like. My thing is like, who are her people that let her do this? Because she has a team around her that watched her practice this and said, you know what, we're gonna let her go on TV and do that. Because whoever it is, she needs to fire him and get him out of her life. Because they knew she sounded like shit. They know, So, yeah, I felt bad for her, but then I saw people trying to defend it, and I said, nah, let her catch that heat.
let her take her L, right?
Yeah, she ate that L, man. So let her take that L. Don't defend that nonsense.
I mean, when they give these spots to people, though, don't they let's get a sample of it?
Right, that's my whole point. How did nobody hear her practicing and say, hey, you know what? Let's find something else for you to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
there should have been a rehearsal. If I would have heard her do that in rehearsal, I'd be like, you know what? We just gonna call Brandy. Like, anybody got Ray J number? Like, where Brandy at?
Yes, Gonzo, I got to go to you now, brother. What did you think of Fergie?
Awful. I mean, whoever thought to have Fergie, who obviously isn't. I mean, she's a pop star, so I wouldn't expect her to have too much. I wouldn't expect her to be a very crisp singer because most pop stars aren't really, really great singers anyway. But I mean, whoever chose her to be the singer for the national anthem at All-Star Weekend, they should seriously be brought into the front office and have a deep conversation with them about their job, possibly. That was stupid.
Damn. Hey, John, you can comment on Fergie if you want. I don't have much to say. They've all hit on it.
I ain't got nothing to add. I actually had a question regarding the direction of the dunk contest over the last 5 years or so.
Go ahead.
All right. All the throwback jerseys paying homage to the legends.
Come on.
Do you guys think that's a good thing, or is it ultimately killing the dunk contest?
Go ahead, Byron. I'm giving it to you.
I think we need to leave those throwback jerseys out because you're not really paying homage when you can't land the dunk. Larry Nance, I get.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's fair.
That's his dad. But I mean, did he do daddy justice? No. If that's my son, take that off.
Nah, Larry, he executed that dunk pretty much like his father. His father had a better camera angle.
They did do a side by side. I thought he did do that. I mean,
but Donovan Vince Carter thing was like, you know, he might as well taken the jersey off and stepped on it afterwards.
Byron, what are your thoughts on
dog.
Byron, what are your thoughts on the Donovan Mitchell Vince Carter jersey?
It wasn't close to Vince dunk, but who can do it like Vince? You know?
Exactly.
That's true. That's true.
Here's my thing with that though. So who 10 years from now is going to put on a Donovan Mitchell jersey?
Nobody.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I see where you're going. I see where you're going with it.
Everybody's paying homage to the legends, but nobody's making their own story.
Well, see, here's the problem. I hear what you're saying, but like this is the thing, right? It's almost like, you know, in Hollywood now, everybody's remaking movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, dog, there's only so many. There's not very many new dunks you can do, right? I mean, like it's kind of, we've already seen it all, and sure, like Victor Oladipo had one that would have been original. You know, the double tap was nice, but it's just I understand. Like guys are like the physical limitations are real. Like you can only do so much. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? You know, some of the stuff Zach LaVine. Now, I think Aaron Gordon did a fantastic job a couple of years ago. But if you pay attention to a lot of Zach LaVine's dunk, you know who was doing that? When he was in the dunk contest, it was the wrong time. He was doing a lot of stuff James White was doing when he was younger.
Yep.
Well, I don't know that we've seen everything be in the dunk contest, because you got guys like the dude from N1, the air up there, who did the what is
720?
The 720 dunk, and we haven't seen that in the dunk contest yet.
For sure. I'm not saying it's all been done. I'm just saying, like, we're getting to that point. Like, you know, he's saying who's going to make themselves legend, do something new. I mean, Vince Carter is a freak in nature. He blew it up. You know, Aaron Gordon blew it up. And, you know, Zach did some nice things. But, like, yeah, it's now, guess what? No one can do what they've already done because they've already done it. So, like, what's going to be next? You see what I'm saying? We're getting to the point where what do you really expect guys to do? So maybe it's time to end the dunk contest.
Maybe be honest for a while. Maybe suspended for. Well, I think here's another thing too. Another thing that's hurted is that we're not getting those marquee players to join the dunk contest. Like, why has LeBron James never been in a dunk contest?
Nah, I'm gonna have to. So like that ship sailed after year 4 for LeBron, and like the man he was doing it as a 6, 7, 8, now, you know, 10, 14-year vet. That's out of pocket. He's earned the right to
I'm not saying that he should do it now, but I'm just saying it's like we don't get like the big name guys in the dunk contest that we want to see. That's been an issue with the dunk contest. I think the last dunk contest we really saw like that, when we had the big names, like was the one with Vince Carter, because it's like Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Stephen Francis, Jerry Stackhouse was even in that dunk contest. And it's like if you go back and look at the 80s, you had guys like Mike and Dominique Wilkins joining the dunk contest. And why don't we see the big names anymore? Like,
you know why? I'll tell you exactly why. Go ahead. So who wants to take that one?
No, I was like Blake Griffin, and it was like it's pre-scripted that he was going to win because they did the Kia sponsorship. You know that.
Well, check. You know why? I think nowadays everything is so. Everything goes viral, and you know, talk about the misses. Guys are so worried about their brand, especially guys who are 1, 2, 3 years in the league, and they're just trying to establish themselves. They're still worried about their brand. They don't want that black mark. They don't want that loss. They don't want that embarrassing missed dunk to be on the internet circulating while they're trying to build their brand.
That's a good answer, actually.
I really think that's probably what it is. You know what I'm saying? So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. That's kind of why, like, I'm going to talk on what Byron was talking about with LeBron James. And, like, I think by the time he hit 23, it was a wrap. He wasn't going to do it. I truly believe, because I watched the dunk contest he won in high school, the All-American game. He didn't do anything spectacular. I don't think he's that creative when it comes to dunks.
He's a power dunker.
Exactly. He knew he knew it would be tough for him to win the contest unless they were giving him scores based on his name. And it's like, and like you said, James, he would have been eaten alive by the media for it. That's why I don't think he did it. You're right. I'm glad Russell Westbrook came out and said it, where it's like, man, I'm an in-game dunker. I don't need to do the dunk contest. He may be thinking the same thing. If I do it and don't win, you're going to eat me alive. It's fair.
And that's the thing.
Fair.
Like, look, a guy like James Flight White, that's all he does is dunk, right? So that's cool.
Yes.
And, a guy like Aaron Gordon, young, bouncy legs. Like he said, hey, it's true, LeBron. Exciting in-game. Russ is a big, powerful dunker, but I don't think Russ is going to do anything creative. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to do anything like, oh. So, yeah, like these guys like, why would I be? Why, just because you're screaming my name for me to go do it, I know that's not what I do. So, like, what are we doing here?
At the end of the day, big names aren't, like, they're all-star players. And that you don't have to be a good dunker to be a good player. Like, them practicing all these creative dunks isn't helping them win games at the end of the year. So
exactly.
Why would you want to focus on that?
Another thing is, honestly, I think when guys are all-stars and then they do like the dunk contest, they get tired. They burn themselves out. There's a lot of responsibility, on the all-star weekend. And, these guys, they do want to just kind of chill. So I don't blame them.
Steph Curry hasn't done the three-point contest the last couple of years.
Didn't he do it last year? It was him and Clay last year, right?
No, 2 years ago was him and Clay. He didn't do it last year or this year. Yeah, he said he wasn't going to do it anymore. So I wasn't shocked.
This is just to get like fresh faces out there to build the next. Steph Curry don't need to freak the shit out, right?
No, but I think instead of having Paul George or Kyle Lowry, why don't you put Buddy Hield in the contest? Someone like that. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see.
Larry Bird was in it late in his career, and he, He won it three consecutive times, and then he
was a different era, though. Yeah, that was a different era, though.
He was the only one who could shoot threes back then.
That's kind of true. That is kind of true. Except, him and Craig Hodges, right?
I was about to say that Hodges could shoot it.
All right, now we're gonna get into our NBA awards for the first half of the season. I know it's the All-Star break, so technically they say first half. We know they played upwards of 50 games. Most teams have 24, 25 games. Celtics 23 left. So obviously, it's not really the halfway point. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to call it the halfway point because that's what I'm going to do here. So we're going to start off, and we'll go 3-1 here. We're going to start off with our Coach of the Year. We'll go 3-1. I'm going to go to you first, Gonzo.
Coach 3, I have Brad Stevens. Coach 2, Mike D'Antoni, and Coach number 1, Mike Malone for the Denver Nuggets.
Okay, I like it, man. I like it. James, how is your Coach of the Year race looking?
I think I would go.
It was tough for me. I won't lie.
Yeah, I probably go Dwayne Casey. Then I go D'Antoni, and I'm gonna go Brad Stevens number 1. For the simple fact that he lost his all-star free agent in the first game of the season. Yes. He's playing a bunch of rookies and a couple second-year guys, and sure, Kyrie's awesome, learning a new system. Al's such a great glue guy. But the fact that they're top 2 in the East and they have the best defense in the league, that's a lot of credit to Stevens. So
yeah, absolutely. Kudos. John, who do you got?
Coach of the Year, I think, is probably Brad Stevens for the same reason. They lost Gordon Hayward at the beginning of the year, and they went on an 18-game winning streak when everybody expected them to just roll over and die. After that, I think Mike D'Antoni, just keeping the Rockets together. They missed Chris Paul for a big chunk of the year, and they're number 1 in the Western Conference, ahead of the Golden State Warriors, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming. And third is probably, I think Tom Thibodeau doesn't get enough credit for what Minnesota's done. Mm-hmm. They have a really young roster, and they're 4th place in the Western Conference. Nobody really expected them to have a home court advantage seed. People were thinking maybe 8th, but fighting for that 8th spot.
Yeah. So Nice. Byron, what do you got here for Coach of the Year? I want you now next. Hey, John, when we go through our next, because I know you got all your list here. Go 3-1. That way we just go to go uniformly. No, I'm not knocking you for that. How you did it that time. Go 3-1. Yeah. I know. That's my fault. I don't want to start any hatred here.
Look at Matt cracking a whip.
It's right. It's my show. I do what I want here. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
On the right people. You know, Black Panther just came out, so we ain't
yeah, he know who the flex on right now. He know who's not the flex on right now.
It has nothing to do with that. Byron knows I will flex on his bitch ass quick, so he knows that. With that said, Byron, I want your coach of the year, Byron, 3-1. Hey, for everybody who doesn't know, Byron is my best friend. We're like brothers. We've been knowing each other for a very long time, so I can talk like that to him. James, I would have never said that to you. I'm just being honest. And it's not to say that Byron's weak or anything like that. It's just we're that tight.
I dig it, man. I dig it.
Byron, but who do you got? Coaching you 3-1.
3.
Okay.
Then D'Antoni 2.
Okay.
And then number 1, Casey, hands down, because I didn't see that coming at all. You know what they're doing.
I agree.
And they're a threat, man.
I agree.
In the Eastern Conference, like I saw Gonzo post a tweet. He's like, watch, Cleveland made all these changes, then they're gonna either lose to Toronto or the Rockets. and I'm gonna have to agree with them because that team is.
I hope Gonzo doesn't have the Rockets in the finals. I know Byron does, but we're not gonna talk about that today. All right, mine. I got 3. I got Greg Popovich. I'm surprised. No, well, really, let me go back. I actually have 5 because I have to give these 2 guys credit. 5, I have Brett Brown, 4, Thibodeau, and then 3, Pop. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard basically hasn't played all season. He's got him 3rd in the Western Conference, and nobody's scared of LaMarcus Aldridge as good as he is. And he's got a bunch of, other guys, old Pau Gasol, DeJounte Murray, old Ginobili, old Tony Parker. Pop has done a fantastic job. I think they should throw it away the rest of the season and take the chances on the ping pong balls, but that's just me. I got Brad Stevens 2, and then I've got Dwayne Casey 1. I mean, I was not a believer in the Toronto Raptors, but it was probably late December, early January that I said this team, and this is before the trades, obviously, I thought they were the biggest threat to the Cavs. I actually had them in the finals. I like what they've done there, changing the offensive system. They're playing better defense. I mean, John, I know you can help me out here. You did it last week. I need you again. Where is Toronto offensively and defensively? They're like the top 5 in both, right?
They're top 5 in both. Let me head to BBR real quick.
Thank you.
Let's just go with that. Just stay top 5.
There we go. There we go. They're top 5 in both. We'll go with that. Good job. Hey, there you go. And it's so yeah, I really and I love their bench, man. You got Van Vliet off the bench, and I'm going to get to him later in one of our awards. I know it's going to be a shocker, but I spoiled it. Sorry. Now let's go to most improved player, 3-1. I'm going to you first, John. Most improved player, 3-1.
What if I only have 2? Because I don't think that it's particularly close.
That's fair. Go ahead. If you've got 2, that's fine. I've got 3.
It's really, I think I only got 1, really, because at the beginning of the year, it was looking like it was going to be Kristaps Porzingis because he got off to that really hot start in November. But then defenses kind of figured him out a little bit, and he kind of tailed off as the season went on. And obviously, he got hurt, which took him out of the running.
Yeah, he's done.
But I think it's Victor Oladipo, hands down, is going to be the most improved player this year. There's not even anybody that's within my peripheral vision as far as that goes.
That's fair. Hey, you don't have to name the other 2. I did. It's fair. Everybody else might. I don't care. That's fine because we're probably all in agreement on this one. James, I'm going to you. We all know who number 1 is, but 3-1.
Yeah.
James.
I think we got to give Giannis some love because he's gotten so much better every season, and he went from being really good in All-Star last year to this kid looks like he was and he's still putting up MVP type numbers. Yes. Sure, the team might have kind of tailed off just a little bit, but he looks like MVP. So Giannis should definitely be up there. And of course, yeah, Depot just went next level this season. So that's my pick.
Okay. I'm going to you, Gonzo.
I got Oladipo as my top pick. Nobody else really matters, honestly.
Okay. That's fair. Byron, I'm going to you now. Are you with them, Oladipo, and nobody else?
I'm gonna say Oladipo, Antetokounmpo for sure, and Lou Williams, but definitely Oladipo hands down, number 1.
Most improved. I mean, I can see that. Okay, I've got my list. James, you're gonna like this. I got 3. Jaylen Brown.
Nice. I'll take it.
Yeah. 2. Brandon Ingram. And of course, Oladipo 1. I think that's obvious. I mean, the guy went from, 12, 13, 14 points a game last year. Now he's averaging 24, all-star, shooting close to 40% from three. Career high, I think, the guy's been fantastic. It's easy. And this here, our sixth man of the year is probably all going to be unanimous.
I got my third, but different award.
Okay. I'm gonna go with you, Gonzo. Sixth man of the year, 3-1. Are you there, Gonzo?
Uh-oh.
I said,
losing?
No. I'm sorry. I got three people, but we all obviously know who number one is. So I'm just gonna go with my two. And this guy, he kind of turned into a starter as of late. I got Domantas Sabonis as my 3.
Okay.
I got Eric Gordon as 2, and I have Lou Williams as 1.
Okay. Yeah, I think everybody's 1's going to be the same, but 3 and 2 I think is going to be interesting on everybody's list. John, who do you have 3-1 sixth man of the year?
I have an inverted list for what Gonzo, or my 2 and 3 are inverted. I got Eric Gordon 3rd, Sabonis 2nd, Lou Williams clear cut 1st. I think Jordan Clarkson and Michael Beasley are in the conversation for that 3 spot. But
okay, I think y'all are gonna love my list. I know James will. James, speaking of James, what's your list look like for six man?
Are we still counting Lou Will as 6 man?
Yeah,
because he started a lot, dude. Had he started a lot?
I don't think so, honestly. I don't think he has.
He started 14 games this year out of 55.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah. All right, that's fine. So I'm gonna go. I go Eric Gordon. In fact, I go Eric Gordon. No, I'll let me switch my order up. My number 3 is my number 3 is Terry Rozier.
Okay.
I love that kid, and I'm being a homer. Number 2 would be Eric Gordon, and then number 1 is Lou Williams.
That's obvious. Oh, all right, Byron, I'm going to you.
I'm gonna go Tyreke Evans.
I don't know how many games he started, but he has come.
Well, he's been like the full-time starter since like Mike Conley went down.
Oh, okay. Wow. Hey.
Okay, so he's starting now?
Yeah, he's starting now. That's all right. Hey, go 2-1. Go 2-1, Byron.
Then I'm going Eric Gordon and then Lou Williams, obviously.
Yeah, that's easy. That's very easy. My list is interesting here. I took a little different approach here. Obviously, number 1 is Lou Williams, but 3, I got Fred VanVleet. I think he's been so good for the Toronto Raptors off the bench. I love what he's doing for them. And then I'm going, James, you're going to like this. It's a Boston Celtic. It's not Terry. I'm going Marcus Smart.
We'll take it.
I know he's missed some games, but I love Marcus Smart's game. The guy's fantastic. And then Lou Williams, obviously. I think I pleased James on a couple of my awards here.
Yeah, I'll take it. We appreciate the love. And
I got a question real quick. Am I wrong for putting, I know it could go anyway, but Fred VanVleet's been great, right?
I think Toronto's whole second unit is just great across the board. I don't think any one guy particularly stands out for a 6-man award.
Yeah, that's my thing. They're benched between Jakob Poeltl and Pascal Siakam and VanVleet and what's the kid's name?
Delon Wright. Yeah,
Delon Wright. Every night somebody different stepping up, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint one. But that's a good choice. VanVleet.
I went with him because he's shooting the 3 well. He's running the team, and his defense is phenomenal. That's why I kind of went with him because and plus I'm a little biased. He's a Rockford guy. I live 45 miles, or actually it's 25 miles west of Rockford, so I'm somewhat biased. So I had to put him in there.
He'd actually be a candidate for most improved. He was.
Exactly. Yeah, I almost had him in there, but I just don't think he's been as good as Brown or Ingram. So he would have probably been in my top 5 if we did it that way for most improved. I think he's been great. So now we're getting to 3 big awards, I guess, that people would consider. We'll go defensive player of the year, 3-1. I'm going to you, John.
3-1. I think Rudy Gobert is probably the best defensive player in the NBA, but he's missed a decent amount of games. If he stays healthy, throughout the rest of the year. I think that Utah is going to make a push in the standings that probably gets him into the conversation for the award. And then for number 2, Al Horford has been the driving force for the Boston Celtics defense the entire year. One of the main reasons they've been a contender, despite Hayward going down, a true, he's an all-star, even though, he doesn't really get the credit that, flashier players of the league do. He's kind of like a mini Tim Duncan in that regard.
Nice. I know James likes that.
My pick for the award, I would say, is actually somebody who you could put on the most improved list, is Kyle Anderson. Has been doing a phenomenal job filling in for Kawhi Leonard the entire year. And, he's really elevated his game across the board. He was kind of not a great scoring option his first 4 years in the league. And now he's just really stepped up. The Spurs, the only reason they're relevant right now is because they're a top defensive team. So
absolutely. Because they're bottom of the pack defensively. Same thing with Boston. They're not very good offensively.
Actually, guys, hey, I was just looking at this today. Since the 30th, maybe the Spurs are 10-13 and they're 22nd in offensive rating. So it's coming unraveled. Pop did what he could while Kawhi was out, but they've really been falling apart. So they're kind of falling off a cliff. But I get it. You guys are probably not, you're not crazy to put those guys, in there. But yeah, things are falling apart kind of lately.
Well, they are an older team and probably needed this rest from the break.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Kyle Anderson's not older, but I get
Popovich teams are always really focused in March and April, though, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It will be interesting with them. I think they should just lose and blow it up, and not blow the whole team up, but get a ping pong. But you ain't doing nothing.
It's too late, man. Well, no, I
don't think it is too late. I think they could drop to ninth.
No, you're right. I think they're 3 games out of ninth, or 3.5 games out of ninth right now.
I mean, are you with me? They should just take the chances with the ping pong ball.
That's not how San Antonio's built, man. That's just not how they're built.
Yeah, I get that, but man, that's what I would do.
Duncan was in this draft, maybe.
I mean, true, but I mean, it is what it is.
They go out for Trae Young, not Tim Duncan.
Hey, I got a question for you. If you're picking, you were picking Kyle Anderson for what now? What award was that?
Defensive player.
Yeah, just because they're second in defense, and their defense has really held the team together.
Okay.
That's actually really good because most people probably don't have them. James, I'm going to go to you now. 3-1 for defensive player of the year.
It sucks that Roberson got hurt because he was my runaway favorite for the award. I'm still gonna give it to Paul George. He's I think leading the league in steals and deflections, and he's still playing really locked down defense. You know what? Draymond's defense has slipped a lot, so I'm not gonna put him in the conversation. Well, just because he's Draymond Green, I can put him in the conversation. I guess I'm gonna put Draymond 3. I'll put Paul George 2, and let's go Gobert because he's a game-changing defender, and that length and that rim protection means a lot for Utah. So that's pretty simple to me, I think. But yeah, if Roberson was healthy, Robertson. If Andre Robertson was healthy, he'd been my runaway favorite.
Definitely. I think a lot of OKC fans, because I said it last year, how important he was to the team. They're seeing it now, how important he is to that team. A lot of people even OKC fans. I mean, I had OKC fans coming at me because I said Roberson was good. It is what it is. But I'm going to you, Gonzo. What do you got? Defensive player of the year, Gonzo. What's your list? What's yours looking like?
I want to put Gobert, but I mean he's missed quite a few games. So as of now, I have Anthony Davis 3, Paul George 2, Kevin Durant 1.
Okay. I like it. I really do. My list is kind of similar to yours, Gonzo, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Byron, I'm going to you now. Defensive player of the year.
I got Joel Embiid, number 3.
Okay.
Choice, yeah.
I got number 2 is kind of like a tie between KD and Antetokounmpo,
okay.
But number 1 is definitely Paul George.
Okay, nice. I'm with you there. I'm with James on 3, Draymond Green. I mean, he's taken a step back, which is why he's 3, but he's still really good defensively. We're not going to call him a bad defensive player. I actually got Durant 2, and maybe my list is kind of biased. But I actually like the Joel Embiid, and I do, and I'm with James here. It would have been Roberson and Gobert would have been 1 and 2 either order, but just the games missed, and obviously Roberson's not coming. But 1 is Paul George. That's who I've got. Now we will go to Rookie of the Year, and I'm going to start with you, Gonzo. 5-1. These are the 2 ones we're going to go 5-1 on Rookie of the Year MVP, because I know the rookie class is really deep. That's why I did this. So, Gonzo, what is your Rookie of the Year? Look, 5-1.
My 5-1, it really shouldn't be much of a surprise. I think, if anything, if we're watching the same games, everybody's list should probably look like mine, probably.
It'll be close.
At 5, I have Dennis Smith.
Okay.
4, I have Lauri Markkanen. 3,
Okay.
Jason Tatum. 2, Ben Simmons. 1, Donovan Mitchell.
Ooh, okay. Our list has the same 5 guys, just not in the same order. That's okay. John, where are you at?
I actually don't got Dennis Smith in my top 5.
That's fine.
Whoa!
But I could be wrong. I didn't. He was like the 6th guy that I didn't get a chance to.
So it's very close. That's fair.
Yeah. So I got 5 and 4 is basically a toss up between like Kyle Kuzma and Lauri Markkanen. They're more or less the same player. They're good for 16 and 6. They're both good at shooting the 3-ball. Kuzma's coming off the bench for a bad team, and Markkanen's starting for a bad team, but they're both playing about 30 minutes a game, so it is what it is. I got Jason Tatum, number 3. He's been putting up 16 and 6, but his shooting percentage is pretty good, 43% from 3. One thing to note with him though is he's actually been trending downward. He was at 53% from the field, 45% from 3 in December, and since then he's been at 42% and 33% from 3. So I think that he was shooting the ball hot during their winning streak, and then since that point, the team's kind of cooled off.
Let me ask you this, because I know James, you're the Celtics guy, so you may be thinking where I'm going here. I don't think Jason Tatum's is as bad as he's showing with his shooting, but he's not as good as obviously the 50% threes, right? He's somewhere in between, right?
It's just that rookie wall.
Exactly. Okay. James, you're probably with us on that, right?
But he is trending down a little bit.
Yes. Understandably.
And then 1 and 2, I'm actually going to surprise a lot of people, especially Matt, because I've brought him up. I think Ben Simmons is going to be number 2. At this present moment, he's number 1, but he's actually been trending a little downward. He's averaging 14 points in February, whereas my number 1, Donovan Mitchell, has been trending up. He's averaging 22 points since December, and I think that Utah's going to make a push into, for playoff position now that the whole team is healthy. So I think that it's going to come down to Mitchell and Simmons jockeying pretty hard in those last 2 weeks.
I'm actually kind of like my rookie of the year is going to be the same when the end of the season runs, but I wouldn't be shocked if it comes down to which team kind of has the better record, where they finish in their respective conferences. We know Philly's 7th right now. They could finish theoretically as high as 3 out of the playoffs. Same thing with Utah could probably finish theoretically as high as 3 or 4 with Kawhi being out. It'll be interesting because it's not very many games. But I'm going to you, James, on this one for Rookie of the Year.
If we're doing 5, I'm gonna go Markkanen. He's been really good. He started off really hot. I think he's cooled off some lately. All these guys, they're gonna be up and down. Their rookies. Mm-hmm. 4, I'd go Dennis Smith. Dennis Smith Jr. He's kind of fallen off the radar and his numbers don't pop, but he's playing a role for a coach that needs him to play. That's how Carlisle lives, right? He's not going to let the point guard kind of go run wild. Even though we might see in the second half, he might make a surge because I think they might let him off the leash a little bit. 3, of course, is Tatum. Sure, and the rookie wall is a real thing, man. No, it's not just the rookie wall. I don't know if you guys remember. He dislocated his finger, I think, December 23rd.
So he's also hurt.
No, well, since he dislocated that finger, that's the line of demarcation. You can look from right past that game. That's when the numbers fall off a cliff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So maybe it's on the shooting hand, so maybe that's affecting his shot. Who knows?
So
But no matter what,
70% 70% rookie wall, 30%.
yeah, hey,
70, 30
I'm not making excuses. The numbers are the numbers. He's tailed off some, and yeah, 2 to me is Ben Simmons. I get it. He's been incredible. The shooting percentages are up there and all this, but he plays with Joel Embiid, who makes it. They showed his on-off splits, and when he's on the floor and Joel's off, the numbers look a lot more pedestrian than the overall numbers do. You know what I'm saying? So then Dennis, look, Donovan Mitchell, after his first 19 games where he was shooting terribly and shooting all over the place,
awful.
From game 20 on, it was his first 19 games. From game 20 on, he's been averaging like 22 points a game, like 22, almost 22, 4 and 4, and that's the kind of thing. And shooting about 42%, but he's shooting like 38% from three. That's like the stuff that we're talking right now. That's like those guys who carry a team. That's only guys who did those kind of numbers are Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry. Those are
franchise player numbers.
Yes,
that's Devin Booker numbers.
Yes, that's Devin Booker this year, who's actually been really good this year.
James, back on Devin Booker. James and I have been very high on Devin Booker for a long time.
Devin's been great this year too. Yeah.
Everybody else is catching up to Devin Booker.
So I'm going to give them a pass, man, because it's true. He's more efficient this year. He's a better playmaker this year. He's a better rebounder this year. But my point is, like, you don't go from being a bad player, which is what TM were calling him, to being a good player in one offseason. You get better, and that's the thing. He was a talented young player that needed to be better. So my bad. Well, Donovan Mitchell is my number 1. Ben Simmons is my number 2.
Nice. Byron, where are you at?
Yeah, I think number 5, I got Kyle Kuzma. I like him.
Byron is out in LA, and he's not a Lakers fan, but he is in LA.
And I actually saw him at the mall a few weeks ago.
Nice.
And then marketing, absolutely. Then Tatum, hands down. Now, my realistic choice for number 2 is Simmons. But emotionally, I got him number 1 because I just love his style of play. He just reminds me of Magic Johnson, and I think that the Sixers are the team to watch for the future. I see them in Boston having a lot of battles when LeBron James is out of the game.
Yes.
I'd have to put realistically. I have to put Mitchell first and Simmons second.
I'm gonna be the only one. Okay, I'm with
sucker.
My list on Gonzo. My list and Gonzo's are very similar for Junior, Markin, and Tatum. I got Mitchell 2, and maybe the bias is coming out. Anybody who follows me knows over the summer I think Ben Simmons is going to be the best player in the NBA in 3 years. I mean, obviously, I could be dead wrong. I'm not perfect, so maybe there's a little bias. I'm with Byron. I love Ben Simmons. He's so good. That's why I have him 1. But the numbers are there for Donovan Mitchell. The clutch play down the stretch, especially over this recent streak since Gobert came back. I mean, one could make are they missing Gordon Hayward? Yes, but really, are they? I mean,
yes.
They. You know what I'm saying, though. You see where I'm going with this? They're missing him, but Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he's been great.
It actually raises the question of what do they do going forward?
Yeah,
because Hayward's got his contract. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
you talking about the Celtics?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What we do? We miss him. I'm not gonna. No. He's talking about Utah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with Utah. Like they missed. Yeah. I mean, Gordon Hayward leaving. And then they got Donovan Mitchell. They definitely miss Gordon Hayward, right? But you got Donovan Mitchell there offensively. And as
he softens the blow a lot for sure.
That's where I'm going with this. I mean, for a rookie to do what he's doing in the clutch, there's other things that are going well for Utah, not just Donovan Mitchell. And obviously, it's all coincided with Gobert coming back. But I mean, Ingles has been so damn good for them. Ricky Rubio is looking like an all-star point guard.
Let's pump the brakes on that a little bit, but okay.
I'm saying he's looking like one. I'm not saying he is one, but he's looked like one in this streak when he's played.
With the streak, okay. I'll go with that.
I mean, he's hitting threes. But
Rubio can hit threes. That's if he solves the one shortcoming in his game, he's great.
Yeah, exactly. And he's done
He
the
has
one
it.
thing that
Yeah, he has him. That's fine, right? It's a nice streak. It's a nice streak.
Exactly. We're gonna see. I mean, the term that we all love, James, small sample size, right? We're gonna find out.
I'm saying he started off the season, I think the first 10 games, and then like this last 10 games have been great, but in between he was atrocious. We know.
I don't know if it's not 10 games though, because I think he's only played in like 7 of them, right?
Exactly. So it's fine. He'll do what he does.
Exactly.
He's fine.
I mean, he's not.
And let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you guys this real quick. So on the season, Kuzma's averaging almost 16 points. He's shooting about 45% from the floor, 36% from three. What do you guys think he's been shooting and he's scoring since Christmas?
My guess.
Somebody give me a guess.
My guess is since Christmas, he's probably lower, like threes. He's probably around 32%.
Yeah, he started. He was like 45% or something earlier in the year.
Me
there
personally,
was a whole crowd of fans. Why he should start him, and then they did, and then he fell off a cliff.
So like, give me his points and his 3-point shooting since Christmas.
Points since Christmas, between 13 and 14 threes, 33%.
Okay,
that would be my guess.
Who
just
else?
Off the top of my head.
Who else wants to guess?
I don't know if you want to guess. John.
Since Christmas,
I don't know.
he's always like 38% and like 27% from three.
That's pretty close. Since Christmas, he's been averaging 12.6 points. Okay. Overall, he's shooting 38.6% from the floor, and he's shooting 29.7% from three.
Okay, so I had him 13 to 14.
I guess
December he averaged 18.5.
Yeah, he started off this December. He was smoking, and then he hit Christmas and he fell off a cliff. So,
you think some of that, because we know, like, I know, James, you're not the biggest fan. I don't think anybody here is, except maybe me. I'm probably higher on him than everybody. You think some of that it has to do with Lonzo being out because him and they seem to have a good chemistry, and that's where I'm going with it.
No, some of it. Also, I think some of it. Look, once the league gets a couple of games of your video and their scouting reports, they play you different. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he came out of the gates very unexpected, so he was catching teams by surprise. You make that lap around the league, and now they got good film on you. They know your tendencies. They actually generate a scouting report for you. It's different. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big part of it. But sure, yeah. Let's see. How many games has Zoe missed now?
Man, he's missed the last 2 or 3 weeks.
So So Zoe was there for part of that, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to just go with Zoe for it. You know?
But he did. Remember, this is the second stint he's missed some games.
I think another factor is that they know that Kuzma is a rookie. And lately, if you're watching any of the games, like Kuzma is not playing in the fourth quarter. They're really pushing Brandon Ingram, because I think I think they're more invested in Ingram than Kuzma. They really want Brandon Ingram to blossom, and I think it's for his confidence purposes. They want him out there more to get him more confident to be the starter that he can be. I think they know Kuzma can get his points.
So
I'm gonna agree with you. Having gone to a game, I'm gonna agree with that. But I think Kuzma got more of that dog in him than Ingram has. Ingram is kind of frail, but the talent is there. But he needs to really, really get in the gym And what you said, they want him to build that confidence up because he was a high draft pick and they want to get the benefits out of him, So, because I think Lonzo is a bust. I'm sorry.
Just to on the what's Kuzma been shooting since Christmas?
39, like a little under 39% and a little under 30% from three.
Y'all remember that Lonzo's basically been out since Christmas, right?
Yeah, 23rd, basically. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, I think Lonzo, the one thing that he does well, obviously not shoot, but he pushes the tempo. And Kuzma's speed, they were really able to take advantage of that.
Now, okay, we can say that, but guess what? The team has actually played a lot. Like the defense has picked up, and a lot of their wins have come with Lonzo out. So he might have maybe, of course, he affects certain players, but like the team seems a lot more cohesive, and they're getting blown out since those went out. So that's something weird to watch.
Kuzma's also been last in defensive rating plus minus at power forward, so that might also have something to do with it.
Okay, this is all really good stuff. Now, I want to go to a topic. Or no, we still got one more. We got MVP. How could I almost forget that? Stupid me. I'm going to you, John. MVP 5-1.
5-1.
I know it's tough because there's probably 8 guys you could all put on the list.
Yeah, I think like the top 2 are pretty clear, and then like 5, it's kind of like a wash. I think Russell Westbrook is probably a good candidate at number 5.
Okay.
You know, he didn't get off to a good start this season, but the team's been kind of gelling. I mean, you know, I think they figured out that it's Melo that needs to take the back seat, and instead they bring Melo a little less, start to function a little better. And they're probably a team that can make a little push, you know, as the Spurs start to falter a little bit. And who knows if Minnesota's going to keep up doing what they're doing. Anthony Davis is – it's really unfortunate that Cousins went down because, you know, they're another team that might slip out. But in order for them to stay in, he's going to have to put up monster numbers, and he's done that before. So I think he's probably somebody who's going to be on the upswing and maybe get some consideration by the end of the year. And then in the Eastern Conference, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's been, you know, Milwaukee is starting to sneak up. Joe Prunty hasn't been coach long enough to get Coach of the Year consideration, but their defense has like moved up like 10 spots in the ranking since he took over. They're like 8-1 with him as the coach or something like that. At 8-2, I don't know. But, you know, if they can really channel, you know, the defensive ability of those guys, you know, the Greek Freak is a freak. And if he's impacting the defensive end of the floor, he's basically like what LeBron was doing earlier in his career with Cleveland. And then for the top 2 spots, we have LeBron, I think, is number 2, because his defense has really slipped the entire year. And, I mean, let's face it, the Cavs are not at the top of the Eastern Conference. They're in 3rd place. I do think that they're going to make a push with all the, you know, after the trade deadline with all the guys that they picked up. They're going to have a good influx of energy. But, you know, the way that and part of it is his, like, he looking around like, I already have to run the offense. Like, why am I going to try on defense if none of y'all are trying? I think he's going to have better defensive focus throughout the rest of the year because guys are going to take pressure off him on both ends. But, you know, he ain't all defense lock like he was earlier in his career. And I think you got to give the award to James Harden.
Yes.
James Harden is a guy who probably should have won the award last year. Obviously, Westbrook got it because he had a historic statistical season, even though they weren't like at the top, you know, at the top of the standings or anything. The fact that the Rockets are at the top of the standings,
John, I think you made a new friend in Byron because Byron's with you on that one.
Yeah, great.
From Houston, by the way.
He is a Houstonian, so.
All right. Well, I got to stop by because it seems like they always got a good basketball team. I'm with the Daryl Morey. You know, and numbers train.
Nice. All right, Gonzo, I'm going to you. MVP 5-1.
I got LeBron James at 5, where he should be. At 4, I have Chris Paul.
Nice.
At 3, I have DeMar DeRozan. I wanted to put Steph on this list so bad. But Steph has ruffled my feathers with his bad passes and turnovers. He kind of reminds me of Westbrook when he kind of reminds me of like this dumb shots Westbrook takes. He makes some of the dumbest passes in clutch situations. I'm starting to think Steph is an idiot who can shoot. So I couldn't put him on this list. 2, I have Kevin Durant. And at 1, I have James Harden hands down. He should have been a 3-time MVP.
Byron's with you on that one. I'm ready for James. I'm ready for James's list.
I got nothing special, bro. I mean,
I know we all know who's number 1. That's yeah.
I'm gonna give it. This is Harden's year. So man, let's say that's just number 1.
Everybody has Harden 1.
I like the fact that some people here recognize that. You know, again, after those first 15, 20 games, Westbrook had been on a tear. And then, you know, since the sprained ankle, he hasn't been too good those last couple games before the All-Star break. But for the most part, since the first 15 games when they started off the season, what were they? I think they were like 8-12. And since then, Russ has been phenomenal. So he's number 5 for me. And you know what? Why not? DeRozan's been great. I'll put him at 4.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, he's been really. And it's funny because the stat heads. Literally, people told me last season that DeRozan was bad for basketball. It was bad at basketball. He was actively hurting his team.
You mean like they're saying Levine's a bad player now?
Yeah, exactly. But those now they turn it around and say, "Oh, he's shooting threes now, so now he's better. Now he's a good player." You know, so those clowns, man. So yeah, we'll put him at 4. I don't. Whoever you want to put it 3. Somebody just when you guys say a name.
LeBron James.
No, LeBron's my number 2. He's my number 2 because he's been good.
Steph Curry.
You know what? Let me get Giannis. I got Giannis at 3. Giannis has been he's been phenomenal this year, and like my man said earlier, that coach has really kind of turned things around, and so they're looking really good in Milwaukee. So he's 3. Bron, you know what? And Bron's gonna make a late push. Because as we saw those last couple of games before the All-Star break, he's rejuvenated. He's happy with the team now. He's actually trying. We might see LeBron go for like 38-8 to end the season now in the last stretch. If that's the case, yeah, and shoot like 57% from the floor. If that's the case, then LeBron might come back and storm and run Harden down. But yeah, right now I think not only is it like a makeup call, but he's done everything that you expect from an MVP. He's scoring at a high level. He still finds assists, and so yeah, I think Harden, this will be his year.
Yes.
On top of that, they have a better record than Golden State.
Yes, exactly. They're the best team, the best player on the best team, right? You know how it typically goes. Usually, over the last 20 years, that's usually how it goes. I mean, here and there you have anomalies, but. My list, I got Giannis Antetokounmpo. I got him 5. I'm with James. DeMar DeRozan 4. How can you not have a guy on a team who's the 3rd best record in the NBA, and he's been fantastic? He has to be on the list. I got LeBron 3, and this is a biased pick. Byron knows it's coming. I got Steph Curry 2 and James Harden 1. One thing I want to say about James Harden, I'm going to throw some stats out there. I believe I heard it today. I think it was from our guy Dave DeFore. James Harden has been one of the 10, maybe even 5 best post defenders when he guards in the post. So I think that's important, actually. He's
and 30 possessions.
But still, he said he was.
No, it's actually on NBA.com. It's got LeBron as like the most efficient post defender.
Okay.
That
makes sense. But Dave DeFore was making an interesting argument here, and I'm interested on what you think, James and. John, I'm going to go to you first, James. James Harden, if they
match my 5 for the MVP.
Damn, I forgot. I feel like an idiot. Thank you, Byron, for interrupting my show. And go ahead, Byron. It's your show now. Go ahead. And I don't mean that in a sarcastic way.
No, you're good. I got Antetokounmpo 5, DeRozan 4. I have Curry 3rd. LeBron 2nd and Harden number 1.
Okay. We knew who your number 1 was. That was unanimous. Oh, Gonzo had to leave us. I understand he's got to be up in the morning. But this is really – and Byron, you can jump into – I'm going to go to you, but I'm going to you first, James, because Dave DeFore was mentioning, and this was on Coach Nick's radio show, which was it yesterday it debuted, I believe?
I was on it too.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. That's why I had to go to you first.
Hey.
Perfect. Yeah, hey, good stuff from Coach Nick. Dave DeFore, though, was mentioning he could see James Harden guarding Draymond Green if they match up in the conference final. What are your thoughts on that? Because I actually kind of like it.
I mean, it works because Dre's not going to do anything too crafty. He's not going to. He's strong as an ox, but so is James Harden, so he's not going to really bully him. The problem with that is and they won't do that, right? Because it's not what Golden State does. If they try to attack Harden in the post, get him in foul trouble. But Draymond is not a post-up player. Exactly. And, Harden's strong enough and savvy enough to deal with that. So that's actually a great idea. He won't be conserving his energy because Draymond will, push him and bump him, and they're going to be physical. So that's why you wouldn't want to if Draymond takes that route and make sure he's extra physical on both ends of the floor, right? So when he's on offense, he'll kind of, he'll bump around the rim and push and grab and shove. You don't want to wear Harden out and have him tired by the end of the game. But it's definitely an option, man, because, it's probably the best option because who else are you going to guard? Me, personally, I would stick him on either Iguodala or if Zaza's out there, definitely put him on Zaza because then you don't have to really guard anybody.
But it makes sense. You'd actually put Harden on Zaza.
Exactly. Because I mean, again, it's like when Marc Gasol was guarding Tony Allen, right? I mean, Zaza's not going to post him up and kill him. He's not going to really do much of anything. He's all the peculiar.
He's going to pass the ball.
Well, I just worry about the impact on the glass. Bigger player.
Again, Zaza's not some board. He's not a board eater. He's not going to just destroy you on the boards. He's going to play 18 minutes, 20 minutes a game, and even I didn't even put him on JaVale because again, we know Golden State's not a rugged interior rebounding, like not going to crush the boards on you. KD and Draymond are going to really attack the boards. Zaza's going to get you, 4, 6, whatever. So
Jordan Bell,
I don't know.
Jordan Bell will attack the glass if he's ready to play.
He will feast. He will feast. We'll see.
Jordan Bell, I think, for the playoffs.
I think that, they need him, but I think they definitely miss him. John, what are your thoughts on Harden guarding Draymond Green?
Who's Ryan Anderson going to guard?
I think the idea was Anderson comes off the bench.
And who's starting, like Mbah Moute?
No, PJ Tucker would be PJ Tucker would be the starter in this instance.
And Ariz is on somebody like Klay Thompson.
Yeah, it'd have to be Klay.
That makes sense. I mean, it can't be worse than Harden, getting guarding Klay Thompson because you don't want Klay Thompson and Harden to start trading baskets at any point, right? Like you'd rather have Draymond beat you if anything.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm totally with you.
Draymond's a better offensive player than he has the ability to show. He's the fourth option on that team. Anytime he, starts to get creative, it's a bad shot because so many other weapons on that team. But you can't just hide dudes on him though.
I think you could with Harden just because of Harden's strength. I think it's the strength that helps Harden because I don't think Harden's worried about Draymond beating him off the dribble or anything like that. I mean, maybe he could, and we could,
Harden's a good defensive player when he commits himself, but
yes, he absolutely is.
His focus has always tended to wane a little bit, and I think Draymond is kind of a crafty enough player that he might be able to take advantage going like backdoor or something.
I think that's what so really you're getting at a lot of the off-ball stuff.
Yeah, and if they ever give up a rebound to Draymond Green, that maybe Ryan Anderson could have kept him off the glass or something. That would be an issue.
Yeah,
Harden is giving up size there.
And as James said, that's one of the 2-3 beasts they have on the offensive glass. KD, Jordan Bell, and Draymond Green. Obviously, Byron. Do you want to see James Harden on Draymond Green come playoff time when they inevitably match up in the conference final?
I don't mind that matchup at all.
Okay, because we know who Byron's taking in this series. We're not going to go there. That's for another show.
That's the most anticipated.
That's the NBA Finals right there.
Series,
Yes. Now I want to get into something here. I randomly made a tweet out a couple weeks ago. Did it again yesterday. I took my pops to his physical therapy because he had a knee replacement. So I'm on Twitter messing around, and I mentioned that Trae Young. Obviously, he's been the hottest thing for the most part all year in college basketball. And I'm going to you first, James, because James, I don't know if you retweeted or you liked my tweet. Where do you see Trae Young as an NBA, like coming up in the draft? Where do you see him going? Would you? Because my content was I wouldn't take him with the top 7 pick. Where are you at on that?
So I trust a lot of these people who love him, right? And we follow some really smart draft guys. Yes. Coles Wicker, they even coach, like you said, Dave DeFore. These are smart guys, and a lot of these guys love him. All right, so I get it. Speed and athleticism is not everything in the NBA. Steph Curry's not the most athletic. He's not the fastest. Guys like Luke, look at Lou Will. Lou Will's been destroying guys. He's not the quick. He's got a nice quick first step, but he's not big, strong guy. He's not super leaper. That's great. I watched Trae Young, and I saw those first. Again, it's funny. Like I think the first 20 games, the guy was a world beater. He was averaging like 29 and 12 or 29 and 10.
I think he was over 30. It maybe even.
And he might at one point. I think he was. He had a couple big 40-point games. He was just. I mean, he was bombing from deep. He's shooting like 45% from 3, right? And that's great. He looked, and people were saying this kid's a top 5 pick. Mm-hmm. But then as you watch, and again, they got scouting reports. They started guarding him different, and his numbers have fallen off a cliff. I think in his last 10 games or something, he's shooting maybe 30% from three, and he's averaging 22 points a game. And we're seeing that, he can't just blow by guys off the bounce. He's not jumping over anybody. He is a relatively small, I think 6'1", 6'2". He's not a super athlete. He's not not the guy with like a 7-foot wingspan, like Eric Bledsoe, like a 6'10" wingspan. He's not one of these guys, and I'm just really curious because I think about a guy like Trae Burke, who scored at will in college, and he really struggled as a pro. I think about guys like Jimmer, and I know that's an extreme example, but he was a big-time college scorer, dominant scorer in college, and got to the pros. And just when you're dealing with these athletes in the length of a pro game, it's a whole different ball game. And I just really wonder, like, where exactly does his game fall? Because obviously he's not as good as he was early. And I don't think he's as bad as he's showing late. But even so, like, what are you doing? Are you going to try to build an offense around a 6'1"? Are you drafting Lou Williams 2.0, in the top 7, top 10? So
and I would do it.
It makes me really just like, I don't want to downgrade the kid. And again, people always say, well, look at Steph Curry. That's great. There's one Steph Curry, right? Steph Curry's a generational shooter. He turned himself into something completely, like, it came out of nowhere. Then there's a million Trae Burks. There's a million Alec Burks. There's a million, those, the undersized, the scoring guards who just don't really fit anywhere. So, it's tough, man. It's tough.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that because it reminds me of like an Eddie House.
Yes.
Eddie House was putting up some crazy numbers in college.
At Arizona State, right?
Yeah, and it didn't translate well to the NBA. So the same thing with like Adam Morrison. Like they were putting up crazy, crazy numbers.
Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield.
But yeah.
Buddy Hield had the 25-point game score, and then he got to the pros, and it's a different ball game.
But he's still, I think he's a decent NBA player, though. Buddy Hield.
Is he a top 5 pick?
No, absolutely not. That draft, well, in that draft, no, not in that draft. Top 10, yes, not top 5 though. In that draft.
So it's tough, man.
I agree. Where are you on Trae Young, John? Because I know you haven't watched a lot, but you've seen the highlights.
I watched one game on YouTube after you told me we were going to be discussing him, and I came to basically all the same assessments of James. I watched the 48-point game that he had, and it was like the worst game of like college basketball that I've just ever seen. It was he was just like launching contested 30-footers, acting like he's Steph Curry. Like, I'm sure this guy looks great when you look at the highlights and show off the made jumpers, but when you factor in like all the terrible misses and like he was just like playing 1-on-5, and like college defenders were giving him a hard time. What's going to happen when you're playing against where everybo's got that 6'10" wingspan? It's not like the Greek Freak was like swooping through blocking a shot or anything. So the one name that James also brought up that kind of reminded me was Trae Burke. Trae Burke is a guy that had a lot of similar issues. He was a scoring guard, but undersized at 6 foot. Mm-hmm. And I think the issue that a lot of these guards have is when you're getting taken with lottery picks, you're being handed the pressure of like the entire franchise. They get thrust into these starting roles that they don't have the skill set to handle, so they kind of flame out. So like, Trae Burke is actually a pretty good player now. Like he's playing pretty well for the Knicks, and he had to take a different. He started for his 2 years. His shooting percentages were trash, like 37%, and then he came off the bench his 3rd year in Utah, and then he came off the bench in Washington, and quietly, like his shooting percentage had been trickling up, but like hadn't really been picked up on because he was coming off the bench. Like last year in Washington, he was like 45%, I want to say, on his 3-ball. And then this year, he started off the season in the G League and kind of had to work his way back into the league now. But watching him on the Knicks now, coming off the bench, kind of playing like the volume scorer, is completely different. He looks like a completely different player than what he was as a rookie. But you can't, when you draft a guy 7th overall or whatever, you can't really bring him off the bench. There's a lot of people who are Frank Ntilikina is 19 and everybody's saying that he should start, but like he looks terrible coming off the bench to begin with, like deer in the headlights. And I think it's like hinders the development of these guys if you put them in that situation where they, they're not actually developing their skills. They're trying to be something that they're not.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Outstanding. Yes, I'm glad you guys are on the same page with that.
Like what Moochie Norris told us when he was on the podcast. He was just saying like how that when he got drafted in '96, I think it was, he was saying like how he's like, yo, Steve Nash knows he can't guard me. He was like, every time I see Nash, it's like, yeah, we laugh and joke about what I did to him in the he said what he did to him in like the
like training camp.
Right, the training camps and the preseason like workouts and stuff. And he was just like, but he said in NBA, he said you just have to be good at one thing. He said because there's politics involved, and they're not gonna let every player just go out and do what he wants to do. Like they're not gonna let every player go out there and be Mike or be Kobe. He said so you have to really, really be good at one thing. And I think that guy's, for one, he's undersized, and he's not going to like they said he's not gonna come into the NBA and do that with guys like Antetokounmpo and just bigger players,
bigger, stronger, more athletic players.
And I feel like the college game too. What you say?
He looks like a future Chinese MVP. He's perfect for that kind of
yeah, and
like Jimmer.
Right.
And I don't think that the kid doesn't have game. But I think that he struggles with identity too, in terms of like who is he as a player, and what
his real problem is?
What's that?
He got a head full of baby hair. Like he got sideburn hair on top of his head, and like you can't play basketball like that.
His hair really bothers me.
He got a head full of pubes, and you can't be a basketball player like that.
Oh man. Yes. This is all good stuff. I gotta touch on this.
His hair really bothers me. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I know he's biracial or something. He has to be that hair. I'm sorry. I hate to be petty, but his hair really, really bothers me.
He got a head like a newborn baby ostrich, man.
So would you rather have Trae Young or Alfred Payton?
What? Repeat the question.
Would you have Trae Young or Alfred Payton as far as hair game goes?
Oh, Payton.
Oh, Trae Young.
Byron says, hey, I got to say this. Nobody's mentioned this. And I told it when I was DMing John earlier today about this is what scares me about Trae Young. It's not like the two things that stand out to me. The short arms, especially at 6'1". They list him at 6'2". He's probably more between 6'5" and 6'1.5". I would assume
probably 6'3".
Yeah, exactly.
He's
probably not 6'2". Steph Curry is a legitimate 6'3", I think. But screw the Steph Curry comparison. He's not Curry. We saw what Curry did. But it's the short arms, and it was probably 6 weeks ago, and it's probably gotten even worse since then. He was shooting like 28% from NBA range. That to me is a red flag for a guy that's supposed to be a shooter, And I know that he's taking bad shots. Everything. I mean, what did you say, John? His usage rate was?
His usage rate right now is 38%, which is basically what Westbrook had last year.
So he's going to take bad shots, and that's part of it. But and he's not, yes, he's in the Big 12, one of the best basketball conferences in the country, but that ain't the NBA. And that's what scares me the most. I think he's going to be a really good NBA player. I don't think he's going to be Jimmer Fredette.
This has been real, man. I got to roll up out of here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Hey, real quick, James, since let everybody know where they can find you at on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Check me out at Snotty Drippin'. It's an homage to my man, Scottie Pippen. And then check us out at B-Ball Breakdown, and I'm over there with Chris Axman over at the Almighty Baller Podcast Network, and yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you.
Hey,
it's been a pleasure, fellas. Hey, man, you guys hit me up on Twitter, man. I'll make sure I follow back. We'll talk over there.
Yes, good stuff, James.
All right, man.
Yes, sir. So I'm gonna go. That's where I was going with this, and I know. Defensively, we all know that's what everybody looks at Trae Young. Oh, he's not very good defensively, but JJ Redick wasn't very good defensively either. He has short arms. Yes, he's 6'3", 6'4", but he has become, and John would agree, Byron, he's become a slightly above average defender, right? JJ Redick, slightly above average.
He had to work for it.
Yeah, he did, exactly. And I think Trae Young has better lateral movement than Redick did coming out of college. So I think that will help. He's a little better athlete, I think, quicker on his feet. You're not
going to be guarding the same position, though.
Exactly, that's true. But I think more so. But JJ Redick doesn't guard the ball very well either. I think
when Russell Westbrook jumps over Trae Young,
yeah, exactly.
Then we'll know, right?
Yeah, I think, but I wouldn't gamble on a top 7 pick. I think he goes top 5 or 6 because I know if he's there when Cleveland drafts, Cleveland's going to take him. The name, I think they take him. I could see Orlando taking him in the top 4 because they desperately want that point guard. I get it. But I like prospects, and you guys probably don't follow, and I haven't watched a single game, but I've seen just highlights, and that's typically how I judge a lot of these college guys. I watched pre-draft footage going into the NBA draft, and that's what I know. And I like Kevin Knox from Kentucky better than Trae Young. A lot of people, oh, you're crazy. Okay, Kevin Knox is 6'9", can hit a jump shot. He's pretty athletic. I'm taking him over Trae Young, potentially.
Looking at the point guards in the NBA, if your ceiling on this guy is the Steph Currys and the Kyrie Irvings of the world, right? Like that's his potential, high point, right? Yeah. A little worse than or Damian Lillard, a little worse than those guys because
I'd say Lillard would be his ceiling, not Curry or Kyrie. Lillard.
Sure. What's the fail case for all those players? Basically the Trey Burks, guys who would be good scorers off the bench. I think a guy who is probably on par with him, and he had a really illustrious college career, but wasn't like a highly touted prospect because of his size, was JJ Barea.
Okay.
JJ Barea has been a really effective player throughout his career, good scorer, and he's only 6 feet tall. So I think, and he willingly comes off the bench. If you ask me who's better between him and Dennis Smith, it's Barea by a mile because he's just he's a very crafty scorer and his shots actually go in compared to Dennis Smith. Dennis Smith has the upside of developing into something more than what Barea is, but so that's
right now JJ Barea is just a better player.
That's just the issue with these. If you draft a guy like Trae Young, I think you should draft him with the mentality of this is like our 6th man of the future. This is our Jamal Crawford, our Lou Williams, etc. Like a guy who can do great things for us in a bench role. But if you want him to be the face of your franchise, you ain't going to win any championships.
And if he develops into more, great. Yeah,
I mean, Lou Williams is basically an all-star coming off the bench.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing with Lou Williams, though. We all agree he's the 6th man of the year. He's been fantastic. Should he have been an all-star? Maybe, maybe not. But here's one thing I have to look at. He's playing the most minutes of his career. He's taking more shots. Obviously, his numbers are going to uptick a little bit because he is a good player. So I think that's part of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it seems like the numbers would indicate like his minutes and his shot attempts would indicate, his numbers are probably going to go up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, anytime somebody's minutes and shots go up, you would expect their shooting percentage to drop because, they're getting more defensive attention.
And that's the thing. He's actually shooting damn near a career high in threes this year.
Right.
I think that's where the uptick in scoring is coming from. Is his percentages are above, his minutes have gone up, but his percentages from the field, 3 and field goal has slightly gone up. Yeah.
He is playing in the Chris Paul system, right?
Mm-hmm.
With a finisher like DeAndre Jordan and also Blake Griffin earlier in the year to keep the pressure off him a little bit. But when those guys went down, that's also when he started, elevating his play. I have a lot of respect for Lou Williams because he had was a knee injury or something like maybe 5 years ago.
Yes,
he had to come back from, and he's a guy who came out of high school, so he's had a really long career, and he's still playing at a high level at a point where probably a lot of guys
was he in that same class with Monte Ellis?
I think so.
They were the last group that could come out of high school. Yeah, so he's not a young man. He's not a spring chicken anymore.
Right. But that just means he's got 15-something years of, working at his craft, just like a Jamal Crawford, right? Like,
exactly.
He don't kill you with athleticism. He kills you with just his overall skill.
Absolutely. See, and that's the difference between John and most numbers people out there. John actually's got that eye test to him too.
No, and I agree with that. What he's saying is that when you get to a certain level, like, I mean, even with like if you look at Kobe and you look at like a Michael Jordan and or any of the other greats, they were more refined because they knew that physically they couldn't do what they did in their youth or in their early 20s. But once they were like in their early 30s to Michael mid 30s, same thing with Kobe and Mike. They would take what the defense gave them, and they didn't necessarily beat you with athleticism, even though they were still fairly athletic. They beat you with their craftiness and with their IQ.
And here's the thing. I'm gonna end it on this. And this is gonna be an interesting fact. What's Dwayne Wade? 36, 30. He's like Byron and I. It's 36.
Don't put my
They say who cares? Nobody cares how old you are. But he's our age. I'll say that. Think about it. When Michael Jordan won that last championship with the Bulls, I think he was 35, 36, still the best player in the NBA. He was
35.
Close to Wade's age, right? Still the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade isn't even a top 60 player. I wouldn't even put him in the top 60 right now. And most people consider Wade maybe the second or third best shooting guard of all time. How crazy is that? At the same age, Michael Jordan was so much better.
Well, Jordan could take off 2 years.
That's true.
That helped to, conserve his body a little bit.
But he did play baseball, so it's not like he was sitting around doing nothing. Yeah, but it's not like Jordan did nothing because he did play baseball. I know it's different, but he still played a sport.
Baseball is not as strenuous on the body as
no,
as basketball is.
No, but it's not like he was sitting around resting though. He still was active.
I think with him, he just had a fairy tale.
That's true.
He had a fairy tale career. It was like he didn't really, other than like breaking his foot in his second season, he really didn't succumb to any injuries or anything. It's like the guy won 3 championships. He retired for like a year and a half. He came back.
You mean he was banned from the NBA, which they won't tell us.
Same thing with like LeBron James, right?
Like no serious injuries. Like
great ones usually work out like that, like Carmelo. Obviously,
you can say Kobe. It wasn't until Kobe was. Now,
I don't think Kobe had a storybook career like Mike. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
not like that, but I mean,
Mike had a storybook career, and I think another thing that helped him was there was no social media. There was scrutiny, but not to the level that there's scrutiny now. And he had such a picture perfect image. Like even his predecessors, like like a Dr. J, did not have a storybook career like what he had. You know what I mean? I think Mike just had a very fairy tale career. He really, really did. And then that and the marketing. I mean, he was just a marketing like wet dream. He really was. And I think that helped him. But
even at 40, Michael Jordan was arguably a top 15 player in the NBA. That's what's scary.
But that's the thing I was gonna say too. Getting back to is just like other than his stint with the Wizards, his career.
What do you mean? Other than that stint, he was a top 15 player at 40.
Let's pretend that didn't happen. I don't want to think about my.
Yeah, I don't acknowledge that.
I don't know why
that stretch of year, like from when he retired.
That's so bad though.
When he retired in '98, like '99 to like 2003 is like the worst stretch the NBA's had. And
here's the thing though. And I'm going to ask you this, Byron. His first year with the Wizards, he hadn't quite turned 39, but he was close. At the All-Star break, his first year with the Wizards, who was the MVP in the NBA?
He's definitely MVP. But I think that, like we talked about the other day, I think it was like 2 days ago, he should have just stayed. I think, Jerry Reinsdorf, I think, he was like an idiot for trying to move forward so fast because Mike would have a 7. They'd have beat San Antonio in '99. If you put that team back together and everybody was willing to come back, they'd have beat San Antonio. Mike has 7 rings. Kobe probably doesn't surpass his in all-time scoring, and he was already cemented as the greatest of all time.
I think
that LeBron will still be playing at that level 2 years from now at 35. I think he will be. Granted that there's no injuries, I think he'll still be a top all-star vote getter. He'll still be, but I think I give him 2 more years and he should hang it up.
I think Mike retiring at that point, though, like it was going to be difficult to keep the team together, and I think retiring on top was important for Mike. Like,
absolutely,
if his last season he didn't go out on top and just like lost in the second round or something, it kind of wouldn't have been the exclamation point on like such a historic all-time career.
And he hit the game.
He would have been like Dr. J.
He hits the game-winning shot in the finals of Game 6.
Right. Yeah, and I think like Kobe, I think Kobe should have. I think his last few years he was playing for stats and he was playing to beat Michael's record. That's what I honestly believe.
He was playing for $50 million.
Kobe Bryant had nothing else to play for. They were bad.
Right. He should have retired 2 or 3 years before he actually.
He should have retired.
He should have retired when he got hurt. Theoretically,
yes. I mean, I even think that
money.
And he should have retired that season. He should have called it a career.
Here's the thing, though. Kobe Bryant was arguably still one of the best 7 players in the NBA before he got hurt. He was, I mean, what was he? 28 points a game. He was shooting 45, 46% from. He was playing.
If he didn't tear his Achilles, I think he would probably just be retiring now.
Yeah, he was really good.
Honestly, because when you're that good, I mean that guy could have. I mean. Yeah, the Achilles and the rotator injury was what ended him, but especially the Achilles. I think if not for that, he would have just now retired, maybe this season.
I think he would have already retired, but
you think so?
Because I can't see him playing that Vince Carter role. You know, Vince Carter, okay, making $8 million coming off the bench for the Kings. Kobe, not so much.
Right,
I can agree with that.
Always wanted to be in the starting lineup, getting some amount of
maybe not be the best player, but I think the second best player on the team.
Right, but he should have retired earlier, just for the fact that he had been playing for so long at that point, and the teams were so bad. He was playing for money and stats. I think he, after maybe one season after they got ran out, they got taken out by Dallas. He should have called it a career, just in terms of his legacy. But I think game wise,
after Dallas.
Well, maybe I said like 2 years after that.
That's the thing you got to remember that year. The one thing with that year they lost to Dallas, you have to remember Kobe really wasn't healthy that year. That's one thing they said, and you could see it the next couple of years. He was so much better as a play. He played much better than the following 2 years. He wasn't. He was probably 75%. That's not why they lost to Dallas, though, but I see why he continued.
Well, actually, when Dwight Howard left, that's when he should have retired. Because I mean, at that point, and then Steve Nash retires. There was.
I agree, because that was the year he got hurt. The year Dwight was there.
Right. That was really like no.
Ironically, Byron, it was against the Golden State Warriors.
Right.
You hate.
That was really like no. But I think I realized this too. He wanted to do it on his own terms. Kind of like with Barkley. Remember Barkley, I think Barkley tore his ACL in 2000, something like that, against Philadelphia. I want to say it was.
That was with the Rockets, right?
Yeah, and then he was like, you know what? And he's like, I'm gonna call it a career, and he retired. But he went out on his own terms, and I think that's what it was. He went out standing. I think that's what it was for Kobe. But yeah, he should definitely call it a career, because at that point he wasn't gonna get that 6th ring. It was not going to happen. And I like that sit down he had with Shaq when he took responsibility for them losing against Detroit. I really like that sit down he had, and how they were vulnerable. And I think a lot of things came to the light, like his work ethic was incredible. And I think it was very mature of Shaq to be like, hey, once I got that monkey off the bat, I got a little relaxed, because I knew that I didn't have to work as hard because you were working so hard.
Absolutely. All good stuff, fellas. I think we got to wrap this up, because I know John's on the East Coast. I'm here in Central Time Zone. I got to be up early because I got to take my pops to the doctor tomorrow morning. And we can't all be Byron out there in LA on West Coast time, and his evening's just beginning. But I think that's going to wrap us up. But let's go, John. let everybody know where they can find you at on Twitter so they can follow all your stuff.
Sure. You can follow me at Real2K Insider. I post NBA 2K and video game related stuff here and there. And I try to run in these streets with Matt and the Czar,
Nice.
and Nelson Blake II. And anybody seen Franchise? Franchise been missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I took a spot. I think that's what happened.
Yes, you
We'll find out Friday, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Thanks for having me
Byron, absolutely, Byron. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
You can find me at Radrem, RADREMM. Yeah, holla at me.
Byron's kept it short and simple. Everybody knows you can find me at Matt UQR Podcast on Twitter. That's going to wrap us up tonight. We'll be back next week. We'll find the perfect day to come on. I try to shoot for Thursdays. I thought Wednesday this week would be perfect because I know the games start back up tomorrow, and I didn't want to miss any of it because we got Philly and the Bulls. We got the Warriors and the Clippers, and I knew I didn't want to do a podcast during those games. I won't lie. So I try to make it as long as there's not a good matchup on, and that's the day I like to go because, we talk NBA, and I don't want to miss the NBA games. So that's what we'll be back next week. We don't do Fridays because I know that's when the hangout is, was ours hangout, and I don't want to, intrude on that. So, and usually I'm on his hangout, so I obviously don't want to do two in the same day. That's a lot of work. I don't want to do that. But we'll be back next week one day. The tweets will go out. John, are you down to come back again next week?
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice. Hopefully Pete will be on. Hopefully he's able to get his son to sleep and all that good stuff. That's why he was with us tonight. Byron, are you up for next week, Byron?
Yeah, I'm down.
As long depending on the day, I know Byron's got other things, so I know certain days he can't do. But that's what we'll look up for. So everybody, enjoy your weekend. I know it's only Wednesday, it's hump day, but everybody enjoy your weekend, and we will see everybody again next week.